The discovery of the tomb of the Egyptian Queen Khentkaus III. Is she the daughter of Menkaure? On this day in the year 2005 AD, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities announced the discovery of an ancient tomb recording the name of a new pharaonic queen. It was not known to archaeologists before, called Third Khentkaus, and dates back to the era of the 5th dynasty. From the Old Kingdom, it was revealed during excavations, which are being conducted by the Czech Institute of Egyptian Antiquities. In cooperation with the ministry in the Abusir archaeological area, what is the Queen's story? Tomb of Queen Khentkaus. Dr. Mamdo El Damati says in his book Queens of Egypt, Queen Khentkaus is most likely the daughter of King Menkaure, although until now, there is still a dispute about her origin and lineage, and it is likely that she was the princess and heir of the royal blood, and Menkaure did not have a male son from his main wife at his death, so his son Shepsesk succeeded him on the throne. From one of his concubines, he married his sister Khentkaus to support his sitting on the throne, and God willing, the rule of Shepsesk also ends without a male heir, so Khentkaus was alone on the throne, for about 2 years 2479 to 2477 AD, and her rule was problematic and clear to specialists. And Dr. Mamdo El Damati says, we have many evidences, confirming that she ruled as an independent king, and others indicating that she was just the wife of a king and the mother of a king, especially since her name did not appear written inside the royal cartouche, but archaeologists almost agree that she had a role important in the peaceful transfer of power between the 4th and 5th dynasties. As for the most important role of Queen Khentkaus, it is her preservation of the throne and the peaceful transfer of power between two families. The children of the god Ra, from the priestess of Ra called Radjet, which most of the wealthy believe is the same as Queen Khentkaus, but this story was not recorded in writing until the end of the 12th dynasty. That is, about 700 years from the beginning of the 5th dynasty. Khentkaus died and was buried in her luxurious tomb in Giza, which is located next to the ascending road. The pyramid of her father, King Menkaure, was built on a natural outcropping of rock, so that it seemed to be a compound of two buildings, as if it were a royal pyramid with 2 degrees. Did climate change end the reign of the pharaohs? The queen's tomb could shed light on the dark period of ancient Egypt 4,600 years ago. The burial, says the archaeologist, took place at a turbulent time 4,600 years ago. Artifacts, including human bones, can provide clues about the queen's life, how she died, and the environment in which she lived. This likely shows that the region was facing political turmoil and climate change. The discovery of the tomb of a previously unknown queen sheds light on a dark period of ancient Egyptian history. Recently, archaeologists discovered the 4,600-year-old tomb of Khentkaus III, a queen from the Old Kingdom. The tomb of Khentkaus III was discovered in the necropolis of Abusir, which was used by the ancient Egyptian capital, Memphis. Here, pyramids dedicated to the pharaohs of the 5th dynasty can be found. The queen's body was found 650 feet, 198 meters, away from her husband, Pharaoh Neferefere, who ruled the Old Kingdom between 2460 and 2458 BC. The title Queen Mother was found written on the wall of the tomb, along with 30 vessels, pottery, woodwork, copper and animal bones. These artifacts, including anthropological evidence in human bones, can provide clues about the queen's life, how she died and the environment in which she lived. Professor Miroslav Barta, of the Czech Institute of Egyptology, believes that the situation is thousands of years old. As a warning to us, a catastrophe occurred and the kingdom collapsed shortly thereafter. In particular, he said the discovery reveals a black spot in the history of the ancient kingdom. For example, a woman was buried during a critical period. As the Old Kingdom begins to run into trouble, with the rise of democracy and the influence of nepotism threatens to destabilize the rulers. Professor Parta believes that climate change played a role in the overthrow of the Old Kingdom, and within just 200 years of the death of Khentkaus III, the land experienced such a drought that the Nile no longer flooded. How did climate change destabilize the Old Kingdom? In 2014, experts at Cornell University analyzed samples, tree rings found in an ancient Egyptian sarcophagus, dating back about 4,000 years, to conclude that ancient Egypt would have been set back due to rapid climate change. The scientists studied samples, taken from the Egyptian Ebi Hashatif sarcophagus, along with wood from buried funerary boats. Near the third pyramid of Sesostris, south of Cairo. Tree rings show the kind of rapid climate change that we and policymakers fear, Professor Stuart Manning of Cornell University said at the time. This record shows that climate change. It does not have to be as catastrophic as the Ice Age to wreak havoc. The samples showed a small anomaly, unusual after 2200 BC, which supports paleoclimate research. There was a short-term drought event around this time. We show that radiocarbon dating in these archaeological objects can confirm, and in some ways better date, a major climate event, said Professor Manning, adding that they have political implications. There was enough of a change in climate to disrupt food resources and other infrastructure, which likely led to the collapse of the Akkadian Empire and affected the Old Kingdom of Egypt. We're in exactly the same situation as the Akkadians. If something suddenly breaks the standard food production model for large areas of the United States, it will be a disaster, he said. He pointed out that the situation contributed to the disintegration of the era of the pyramid builders. This is because crops are damaged due to lack of floods, and people are unable to pay their taxes, which means there is no money to maintain the state apparatus. The Fourth Dynasty, between 2613 and 2494 BC, witnessed the building of the first pyramids. Professor Barta said the tomb serves as a historical echo and warning. You can find many paths to our modern world, which also faces many internal and external challenges, he said, adding that we can learn about the present from past events.